But they took down a picture of one of Thatcher's economists and put up a picture of the founder of the Communist Party of Great Britain. It's like, sorry, are we? If I became the Prime Minister, I took down the picture of Winston Churchill, I put up a picture of, I don't know, Adolf Hitler, would you call me a Nazi? Yes. I think it would be fair to call me a Nazi. Yeah. So if you put up a picture of a communist, someone who founded the Communist Party, is it fair to call that person a communist? I think it's fair, right?
Yeah.
It's totally fair. At no point has Keir Starmer ever gone, you know what, communism's bad, guys. I was wrong to be a student communist. He is a communist. They are spiritually communist. They believe in, essentially, the reduction of all classes into one homogenous class that's under the state. And they expect the state eventually to educate itself out of existence. Nonsense, obviously. But these people haven't changed. And you whenever you see Keir Starmer talking, you realise he is not a smart man. Right? What he is a programmed man. Because this is the problem with all ideology. Ideology is programming for people who don't know what to do.
I hate the algorithms because of this, because it incentivizes rage.
It's not even the algorithm's fault. It's the viewers. It's what they're going to click on.
Yeah, that's very true.
It's the algorithm. All it can do is present things to people. They choose what they click.
Are we recording? Oh, we're live anyway. Yeah, it gives us this advantage over the mainstream though, because the mainstream can't really bait people.
Well, yeah. And they would if they could.
The funny thing is, you go and look at their numbers, and most of them are terrible.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like a lot of the mainstream shows, apart from like Propaganda Joe, we kick their asses.
Well, their numbers are bad.
Well,
if you look at our numbers compared to their numbers, like we're getting something like 7 million on the Load Seaters. I get like 6.5 million on my CAD Daily channel.
Wow.
So it's like we're just dominating them.
Well, I mean, just like what does I said Propaganda Joe. I think I stole that off Charlotte Gill the other day. It's like I tried to listen to one of their shows the other day, and it was so like meh.
Oh, they're just they're 20 years out of date. Everything they say is just from the early Blair years, and they haven't evolved their thinking at all. And so they're just trapped in this position now, where it's
there's been this big shift.
Yeah,
I think. I mean, even friends of mine who are on the left, and I've got literally friends on the left who are telling me they're going to vote for reform. I'm like, how did this happen? And I know because everything's fucked.
Yeah,
everything's fucked. Well, Carl, anyway, look, great to meet you. We got tagged in a post the other day. You were talking about Swindon. Tell me about Swindon. What is it you're seeing?
That's the same as what's happening all over the country. There's a gradual decline that I think is being driven essentially by population replacement. The successive governments have just crammed in as many foreign people into our towns as they can, and that makes the place less pleasant than it was to be in than it was before. And so people tend to just move. It's not a conscious thing. It's not malicious. It's just people would prefer to live around the kind of people that they understand. And if you bring in a huge number of people who don't understand one another, because remember, these people are not from any one settled community, so you can't even build up a kind of rapport with these new people. If you've got like a big Sikh community in one area, okay, well, I can learn something about Sikhism and learn their ways, and we can start to get along. But that's just not what's happened. I think it's been growing for a long time, but I think it's particularly bad after the COVID years during the Boris wave, where it was just millions of people from just anywhere in the world just got scattered across the country. And so the high street of the town before COVID was pretty good, actually. There was nothing wrong with it. You didn't think about it because it was in good shape. Now it's just dying slowly and withering away, because it's not even that people don't use it, but you can tell that it's different kinds of people using it. And the people who used to frequent certain shops and certain stores, they just don't anymore. And so I actually interviewed some people on the street, English people on the street, and asked them what did they think about it. And I hadn't really thought about it, because I actually don't do much shopping like in a town or anything.
You should.
I should. I'm not really a consumer. I don't really buy much. And so this older dear was just like, well, there's nothing here. I don't need a vape, or there's a weird proliferation of Pakistani luggage shops or Bangladeshi luggage shops, which never seem to have any people in them, or barbers, Turkish barbers. And I was looking around because all the shops, like a lot of the shops, are full. They're just not full of anything you would want to go and even browse, let alone buy from. And so the general decline is palpable, and everyone can feel it. And
Yes.
The lack of attentiveness and care with which the environment is kept is very noticeable. The buildings themselves seem to be falling into disrepair because there's just no particular incentive to keep them nice, because who cares? These people obviously aren't from here, obviously don't really consider this their home, and probably don't really intend on staying all that long on an individual basis. The problem is, I mean, we just got last year's immigration figures today. Did you see them?
No.
Do you want to take a guess?
I hope it's under 1 million.
What, net or gross?
Give me the net.
The net was 700,000.
I mean, it's still...
So the gross must have been about 1.2 to 1.5 million.
Yeah, so when Matt Goodwin was here, he showed me this chart, and I think during the Blair years, it was maybe net was about...
300,000.
No, it was even lower. It was like, at the start, I think it was like the 50,000.
Oh, yeah, in the start, but like it peaked at about 300,000, I think, 350,000.
Yeah.
But it wasn't consistent. It went up and down, and so it averaged about 250,000, something like that.
So gross over the last 5 years is going to be more than 5 million.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane.
Yeah, look, I've been going down the rabbit hole quite a bit in Bedford, and for me, the problem is complex, very complex. When I talk about it, people keep talking, we'll reply and say it's because you've let too many people in the country. And I think that's certainly part of what's happening in Bedford, but I don't think actually is the primary issue. The primary issue I'm dealing with is white people who are alcoholics and drug addicts who have made the town very unsafe.
Really?
That is the biggest issue that I'm dealing with locally that I'm trying to fix. It's not the only issue. We have had... The thing about Bedford is a strange place because I've only ever known it as a multicultural community. We have this area called Queen's Park that's always had a massive Indian community. We always have had this very large Indian community that's been very well integrated. We have this road called Tavistock Street. There must be 20, 25 Indians on there. And I go to them regularly because they're brilliant. Big shout out to Chat House. And we also have a massive Italian community from when London Brick opened. So we've always had... I've only ever known it to be that way. And there's never been any tensions around that, really. I mean, some minor things, but really not many. Mainly when England play Italy at football, it all kicks off. So I've never been able to identify with that issue of migration. That said, when we're part of the EU, we did have a large number of Eastern Europeans coming in. Some who integrated, settled really well. Our neighbours were Lithuanian, brilliant people. He had an excellent building business, great guy, got really well with them, got to know them very well. But there were more and more Eastern Europeans coming in who didn't actually speak English, and that became a bit of an issue. That said, more recently, you are seeing a much more diverse crowd in the town. And we've got, you know how London's got like Little Italy and it's got Chinatown? We kind of have like tiny versions of that where we have shops dedicated to Eastern European food, Jamaican food and different things. And so we've started to see that has started to happen. But I stand by the fact that if we hadn't have had this kind of net migration, say 1 million every year, 5 years, I still think our high street problem would exist. I still think it exists. And I'll tell you why, is that we have a remand prison in the town that's throwing people on the street. They were recommended to the Secretary of State, but they've been throwing people onto the street, homeless, who have got addiction issues. And town centres have not been looked after with the growth of retail parks, supermarkets selling everything, and online. They've made the bureaucracy and cost of business in the town centre higher, so they've made it really hard. So there's less reason to come to town. They made it really hard. So I agree. I'm not going to stand here and say there isn't a problem with immigration. There's a huge problem with immigration, but I still think the problem exists if that didn't happen.
Well, I agree that it's not just one thing.
Yeah.
So it sounds like Bedford's problem is not the same as Swindon's problem.
But it might be. Once we dive into it, that's what I want to know.
Well, maybe. I mean, we don't have a huge homeless problem in Swindon.
But do you have
or drug addict problem?
So
we have homeless and drug addicts, but they're not like crowding the streets, or you might see one or two.
Okay,
but it's it's not something that is present on your mind when you're wandering around.
So that is at the top of our high street, right at the top, there's a green area, where there must be most days at least 20 people drunk, sometimes 30 to 40. And like yesterday, I had to report it to the council because I saw a woman. She had a buggy and a kid with her, and there's a path along the side of the green, one that goes diagonally through it, and she's walking through it, and there's 3 drunks arguing, and she can't get past them. I'm like, this is just not acceptable. So we have that. Then there must be, if I took photos, there must be 40 regular drug addicts in the town, and you see it. There's 2 guys in wheelchairs because they've had a leg amputated. There's one guy who's gonna lose both his legs. There's this other guy who goes around with his top off all the time. Like I can describe them all. There's the lady with the pink hair, and they're scaring people in the town.
Right. So this isn't really the problem as well.
Right.
I mean, we have people on the lower end of the socioeconomic scale, and but they're not. I don't know how we want to describe them, degenerate or something. Is it they're not just whacked out on whatever drugs and scaring people in the middle of the town. I don't see that very often. I mean, and I'm talking about the sort of main Swindon high street with the ugly fountain in the middle, where it was the sort of majority up Regent Street. That's not the issue in Swindon. I mean, there might be areas of Swindon somewhere else that have that, but I don't see too much of that. The main issue, and the thing is, Swindon isn't a very violent place, right? It's not scary yet. What it is alien and
a bit shit. Like
it's decaying.
Yeah,
it's not. It's sad. It's a real. Honestly, it makes me genuinely sad because I mean, I'm fairly successful, and I could probably live anywhere in the world that I wanted to. But I like Wiltshire, and Swindon's on the London line, and I've lived there for 25 years plus, and so I've enjoyed it. I used to just walk through the town centre and bump into friends and family all the time.
Right, Carl, we're the same hymn sheet, right? I can move.
Yeah.
I love Bedford. I'm from Bedford. I know the people. My football team's there. I can commute to London in 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Drive to Cambridge in 25. I love it, but I think we've got different problems with the same outcome, which is a decay in town centre.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I tell you, we got a council tax bill broken down and itemised a couple of years ago. They haven't done it for a while, actually, which is weird. But I think it was in 2022, the Swindon Council sent us our council tax bill, and 80% of our council tax was redistributive, as in 80% of what we were paying to the council was so they could spend it on, I don't know,
emergency housing,
wheelchairs or housing or whatever it is. Just they're going to give people our money because they just deemed that these people need our money. And it's like, okay, well, that's very noble of you, but 80% of the bill, that's crazy.
Have you dug into why? Because I have.
Not. I didn't go any deeper than the thing they sent me.
The problem that councils have, because I was very critical of our mayor, critical of our council. I'm like, well, I wouldn't do this. I would get rid of business rates and make it affordable.
They're going to have legal commitments. Right?
It's all legal commitments for central government.
Yeah.
Send. Care Act, Homelessness Act. There's all these acts that they have to commit to, and there's a growing. If you're a welfare state, there's just a continual growing demand on the welfare, and if you are mandated by central government to do A, B, C, D, E, you're not mandated to have football pitches for kids. And they've just shut down this thing where in Blue Paris they'll take kids to Blue Paris. They've just shut that down. You're not mandated to do the fun stuff. Nope. So when you're sat there with a budget, here's my mandate. If I don't balance my budgets, I get a section 174. So I've got to balance my budget. Where do I cut from? And you cut from the non-mandated stuff, which is the good stuff.
What else? What choice do you have?
Well,
you raise taxes.
And I mean, nearly every council in the country was raising 5%, some more. Mm-hmm. And so it's become councils really don't have the autonomy they need. And so I now Look, there are good councils and bad councils. I think Andy Street did a good job in Birmingham. I looked into, what was it? Waltham's? No, was it Waltham? I can't remember. Wandsworth. Wandsworth, pre the Labour government, did brilliant. They border with Lambeth. Their council tax is lower than Lambeth. Lambeth is a shithole. Wandsworth is great, right? But you have to have an extremely good person go in. Like Andy Street went into Birmingham, highly experienced. Was he the CEO of John Lewis or something? Highly experienced businessman, leader, knows what to do. It's hard to recruit those people. So if you're not getting good people and you're putting them to council with a highly mandated set of rules for what to expect, they're all fucked, and that's why they're all going broke.
I've got to say, I've never heard anything good about Swindon Council, but I've never felt that it was because they themselves were the problem.
Right.
It's always been very clear that the issues are coming from the top, and I mean, it really is all things that the Labour and Conservative governments have done since the 2000s, because what they're trying to do is instantiate a kind of reign of human rights, and it's like, okay, well, that's going to be expensive, which it has been, but the thing is, it wasn't too bad until they realised, oh, well, we also want people who are going to be paying pensions in 30 years' time. Okay, well, that's interesting because we've opened the gates, and now we know that we're paying billions a month to benefits in people to people who aren't born in this country, which is kind of mad because we are operating an international welfare state.
Yeah.
And we wonder why we are flat broke and everything is falling apart.
I think it all comes down to two primary things that government's failed at, which is having control of the courts and the law and having control of the economy and spend. It all comes down to that. And I lean more to economy and spend, in that the political cycle is such that there is no incentive to accept what we used to accept, which was, every cycle there'd be a recession. And so governments and we don't really have good people in government anymore. No one needs backbone, no one needs intelligence. So really all they're constantly doing, it's so obvious to see, is that every election, it's how do I buy votes? And they buy votes through taxation and borrowing, which ultimately destroys us. And so I think that's why our town centres are dying.
I don't think it's any one thing. I think it's all holistic. The problem, I think, is the legislation that the Labour government has put in and the sort of instantiation of the quangocracy. As I saw, you got Liz Truss's book there.
Yeah, brilliant book.
I haven't read it myself, but I've watched a lot of her speeches and I've seen a lot of her takes, and she's obviously correct about the extra governmental organisations that are controlling things. This is not for the benefit of the country. This is for the benefit of a series of abstractions that we would call an ideology.
Yes.
And while that is in place, there may well be some very posh liberal who sits there and looks down their nose and says, well, this is exactly how things should be for the standard of human rights. And it's like, okay, but have you looked at the place? Your human rights are costing us everything that we have. And at this point, everything that happens just feels like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic, right? Everyone can see the country is going down, and it's because we simply have completely misaligned the priorities, and nobody really is brave enough to admit that all of what's happened since the turn of the millennium was basically a mistake.
Yes. I mean, people are saying it.
Well, I mean, nobody in power, nobody in the mainstream media. No, there are people like us who are saying, well, look, guys, this has all been a bit of a...
It's all fucked.
This wasn't what we were intending, right? And everyone had very noble goals and whatnot, but they're not very practical goals. And I can't help but notice that we're completely broke and you're still taxing the living daylights out of us. So what the hell are we doing here?
The humble bee, a keystone species crucial to the survival of Earth's inhabitants. Here's how things would look if bees vanished. And here's how they'd look if humans vanished. But imagine if instead we became a keystone species. by doing things the right way, by taking responsibility for our actions and becoming the solution. Iron mines the world's most responsible currency the right way. Because the future depends on it.
Have you read Ian Dunt's How Westminster Works and Why It Doesn't?
You know, I haven't actually.
It is utterly brilliant.
Really?
And I mean, it's depressing.
Yeah, I bet.
Because
I bet it is.
he kind of outlined, it's like, it's kind of what Dominic Cummings has been saying.
I watch a lot of his interviews. Actually.
But in detail.
Yeah.
And he outlines every single, like from elections to how the civil service works. And it's all based on incentives.
Yeah.
And the real problem, I see is that, I mean, there's loads, but one of the real standout problems that comes out from it is the incentives of MPs, right? You want to be elected, and and once you are elected, if you're a junior minister, it's a high risk position because you're 4 years, you could be out of work, and what are you employable in? If you haven't made a front bench, you're not going to get one of those juicy board seats at Facebook.
I don't know. If you're a front bench minister these days, it's a bit dodgy now, isn't it?
It can be, depends who you are, but you might get like some CEO position, but the incentives are that it's all about survival, right? Mm. And if it's all about survival, you cannot really disagree with the party. We saw recently with the vote against the disability payments. Look, I think we need welfare reform. I think it's weird watching the Labour Party get rid of payments for disability. But anyway, we don't need to get into the detail of that. But it's unsurprising that there are some Labour MPs who would vote against that because it's against their ideology.
Yeah.
But what happens? They're kicked out of the party. And so you're sat there thinking, I think this is wrong. The whip says I have to do this. If I'm kicked out of the party, I'm probably out of the next election. I'm out of a job. So you're incentivized to follow. And the parties themselves are incentivized, I think, it's like they've got a shitty car and with like a slow puncture, and rather than buy the wheel or buy a new car, they patch it up and keep it going.
No, you are right. Because the problem that they face is that we need some kind of radical revolution.
We need a Milei.
Yeah, we need someone who is just going to come in with about 380 seats of quite hardcore reformist MPs who will all just say, no, we need to undo almost everything.
Yeah.
Because we are just on the wrong road. And whatever it is we want, we can build it afterwards, but we have to repair the foundations.
Did you read that article Matthew Syed wrote this week?
I didn't. I read books from hundreds of years ago. I don't read that many articles.
Well, I've been doing a little about it recently. I read, here we go. Let me just dig this article out because I think he outlined it really well. Here we go. Patriotism helped us build a Britain, entitlement will destroy it. Right. And where he outlines this list, is it in this article? Don't worry, I'll edit this. It might not be this one, sorry.
Sorry. You need to get a big screen.
Well, we do there, and normally Connor's there, and he's the one finding the things.
Jamie, pull that up.
Yeah, pull it up, Connor. Right, yeah, this is it. Right. Here are the NIMBYs. You're quite right, old boy. We really should build more infrastructure. Crucial to get the economy moving and all that. Fully understand that electricity prices are killing us. But in this particular case of the reservoir train line housing development, the arguments don't quite stack up. Honest, local people are worried about how it will spoil their community, their views. Why don't you come and meet them? They're ever so nice. Love your writing, by the way. Or the junior doctors, and he talks about them. Yeah. It goes on and on and on and on and on. But he says one thing. I can't really find it. He basically listed all the things that needs to be done, that Starmer needs to do. Is this it? Yeah, here we go. Abolish the triple lock, tick. Ruthlessly crack down on welfare fraud, tick. End the mental health racket, tick. Tax unearned increases in land value, joined by QE, tick. dramatically simplify the tax and regulatory system, which are our backdoor routes into parasitism of all kinds. Tick. Close tax loopholes for super rich. Easily done without reducing incentives for the rich to come here. Tick. Reform planning laws. Tick. Fight unaffordable pay demands. Tick. End the revolving door between politics and business. Tick. Crack down on bureaucratic overreach. Tick. I mean, he's just saying what we all
these
know.
are good ideas.
Yeah, let's just get it done.
Yeah.
And for me, it's so mad because I look at Rachel Reeves, right? I mean, she's an idiot, but she's surrounded by people who are saying, "You're getting it wrong. Do this," and she won't do it.
I think I've spoken to people who are closer to these things than I am, and the overwhelming message that I get is that the problem is, once you start doing one thing, you've got to do it all.
Yeah.
You've got to do it all very quickly, because otherwise people are going to start going without things that they are dependent on. And this means that it's actually just far safer if you were a politician, be like, well, I'm just going to coast out these 4 years. I'm going to tinker at the edges, move the deck chairs on the Titanic, and then that's someone else's problem for when they come in, and I don't have to do anything about it. Because, I mean, you saw with Liz Truss's mini budget, it was not revolutionary.
No.
It was absolutely not a radical thing. And yet the Conservative Party panicked, the Bank of England snaked her, and that was it. She was gone. And now Liz Truss, and the right thing to do, which is reduce the burden of the state on the country, is an albatross around the neck of the Conservatives. And reform as well. Oh, he wants to Liz Truss the country. It's like, what do you think happened?
I think I think she's having a bit of a comeback at the moment.
I hope so, because this is one of the things. Not only was she right, but it's one of the things that the left are currently using to beat the right with. Anyone on the right. It's like, oh, you want a smaller state? You want to Liz Truss us. Like, this narrative has to be overturned. Liz Truss got absolutely done over by a permanent bureaucracy that frankly, is the people being paid to ruin the country. This has to be taken away from the left. We have to get over this.
I think she's the best prime minister we essentially didn't have.
Well,
since Thatcher.
She's the only one who actually wanted to do something about the problem.
Yeah, she understands why free markets work. She understands that the state has no real money. She understands that the state needs to be small. She understands she understood the economy needs to work for us.
It needs to be pro-entrepreneur.
Yeah, who was it? Lord Monckton we had in here, and he said he wished he'd just say to us, stick it out.
Yeah.
Don't resign, just stick it out. This will come good, stick it out.
The Conservatives are just such a weak party. Every single structure in it just seems designed to let the Labour Party win eventually. And I despise it. I just don't understand why they're like this.
But I also I question this stuff. And I'm like, Keir Starmer, when he gets home at night, does he actually think, I am doing a good job here and I just need a bit more time, or it's the Conservatives' fault, I can fix this? Or does he go home and go, oh, I'm so fucked. This is so fucked. I can't fix this. Like, is it ideology stopping him making the right decisions, or is it brain?
Keir Starmer is what Pete Hitchens calls a Pabloist, right? Pablo. I don't even know what this bizarre branch of communism is. It's something beyond being a trot or something. But he was a student communist, like almost everyone in the Labour Party was. And they don't reform. What they do is moderate the closer they get to government, because they realise, oh, actually, it's not going to be so easy just to bring about the revolution. But they're still aiming in the same direction. I mean, like, was it Yvette Cooper? Was it Yvette Cooper? No. Which one was it who put up the picture of the founder of the Communist Party of Great Britain in their office? It was one of them. I can't remember if it was Reeves or Cooper. But they took down a picture of one of Thatcher's economists and put up a picture of the founder of the Communist Party of Great Britain. It's like, sorry, are we? If I became the Prime Minister, I took down the picture of Winston Churchill, I put up a picture of, I don't know, Adolf Hitler, would you call me a Nazi? Yes. I think it would be fair to call me a Nazi. Yeah. So if you put up a picture of a communist, someone who founded the Communist Party, is it fair to call that person a communist? I think it's fair, right?
Yeah.
It's totally fair, right? So I at no point has Keir Starmer ever gone, you know what, communism's bad, guys. I was wrong to be a student communist. He is a communist. They are spiritually communist. They believe in, essentially, the reduction of all classes into one homogenous class that's under the state. And they expect the state eventually to educate itself out of existence. Nonsense, obviously. But these people haven't changed. And you whenever you see Keir Starmer talking, you realise he is not a smart man. right? What he is a programmed man, because this is the problem with all ideology. Ideology is programming for people who don't know what to do. Right? And I mean it.
Fair.
Think of every single ideology. When has an ideology ever been created by someone who was in charge of something?
Fair.
Right? Ideology is always something that happens from someone who's never actually gone through the process of governing or creating anything that they're trying to actually get at the end. And so it's theorists who sit there and they come up with very persuasive arguments, and fucking idiots who themselves have got no particular brain power get programmed and spew out these ideological dictates. And so you recognize the words that they use. They're certain kind of magic phrases that they'll use. And then you end up in this weird sort of abstract malaise where it's just like, okay, you all kind of agree on this thing, but you actually don't know anything about the system. You don't really know like what prosperity is found, right? You don't understand the way that things work. And even if you did, you've got a wrong bead on human nature itself. I mean, one of the things I think people should remember about Keir Starmer is he actually, for free, went around the world trying to get child murderers off the death penalty, right? That's a man whose moral compass is completely different to yours. He is a communist. He believes that these child murderers are not guilty of their own actions in some way, right? For free, he went to Jamaica to end the death penalty there. It's like, sorry, these guys murdered people.
Well, hold on. Did he go to end the death penalty, or did he go to end the death penalty for child murderers? Like, what are you saying?
End the death penalty generally.
Yeah.
But the death penalty is only applied to people who do terrible things.
No, of course. Like, look, I get it.
But the point is, his morality is not the same as your morality.
I think that's a challenging one, Carl, in that there are people I know, like I struggle with the death penalty because of because there are times where you execute innocent people. I do struggle with it.
Well, how about we not execute innocent people then?
Yeah, but look, mistakes happen in the law.
Sure, but the thing is, this argument wasn't even the argument that was advanced to abolish the death penalty.
Right.
The argument that was advanced to abolish the death penalty in Britain was that there are more effective ways of deterring criminals. Okay. Now, the issue actually, I don't think, is about deterrence. Right? I'm not for the death penalty because I want deterrence. I'm for the death penalty because
they deserve to die.
Exactly.
Ian Huntley, you deserve to die.
Look at the Southport murderer.
Yeah,
Rudy Kavanaugh. Oh yeah. He absolutely deserves to be strung up.
Yeah, Sarah Everard's murder. Do you deserve to die?
Absolutely. And this really is what the English people in particular, if you poll people, even now, half of people in this country are just like, yeah, obviously we should bring back the death penalty, because they understand that this is actually a kind of retributive form of sort of cosmic justice. And Nietzsche actually talks about this at length. And he's, look, the good society flexes its own moral muscles over the dangerous parasites that are trying to destroy it. Because when someone like Axel Ruda-Cabana attacks a dance class and murders a bunch of kids, stabs 8 kids and kills 3, what is he doing there? Right? It's not just an isolated incident where he's like, I hate those children.
No, he hates everything about our way of life.
Exactly. It's an attack on society itself.
He hasn't fit in. He's got no place.
Whatever his reasons were, right? But society itself then has to say, no, we will not take this. You will be punished in the most extreme way that we can think of, because that restores the just balance. It shows everyone, no, we are going to take care of ourselves. Instead, he's apparently at liberty to continue attacking prison guards.
I know.
So everything about the moral compass of the people in charge is just misaligned. And it's because morally, they come from the same position that the communists are in. This is what the reign of universal human rights is designed to do, is to create a world in which people can't really be punished for their actions because they're not really assumed to be the authors of their actions. You know, so everything about them is say, well, he had a rough childhood. He didn't know what he was doing or something like that. And ultimately what they're trying to do is render them harmless, as if, if he's harmless, he's good. It's like, no, if he's harmless, he's incapable of bad. It's not the same thing at all. And the second he's not harmless, well, he'll carry on. And so it really, I think, boils down to there is a complete moral misalignment with the ruling class of this country and the general public. And the Conservatives, I mean, the Labour Party you expect to be a bunch of traitorous communists, right? I mean, everyone kind of expects it. They've all been revolutionary trots at some point in their youth. Yeah, okay, they're all a bunch of communists. But it's the Conservative Party that is the most disappointing in this regard.
Yeah.
It's like, listen, you you want the approval of the Labour Party. Everything the Conservative does is to get the approval of some liberal sat on the opposite of him who used to be a communist in their youth. You should spit on these people when you walk past them. You know the kind of people they are. The fact that you can sit there and go, well, you know, my right honourable friend across the house. It's like...
They're not honourable.
These guys covered up child rapists for decades and called you a racist for raising the issue. And you'd be like, oh, yeah, well, my right honourable friend over there.
Isn't it funny, like right now with this, with the online safety bill, that they're all spitting out this line that...
Jimmy Savile.
Yeah,
Nigel Farage on Jimmy Savile's side. It's like, I'd sue.
Or you're on the side of child predators. You don't want to protect children. It's like, hold on. Let's just take back a step back. You guys covered up rape gangs. You covered up rape gangs, and you covered up children being tortured because you didn't want to upset a community. You're now saying we don't care. Like, hold on a second. Also, stop trying to fucking parent my children.
Yeah, you have absolutely no ground from which to make that kind of allegation.
What's been really interesting, and also just on that communist point, by the way, I mean, I mix socialist, communist. I mean, I think they're all the fucking same.
Well, they are the same. Yeah.
But it's quite interesting at the moment. People go, "Well, this isn't socialism," and I was trying to look into this because I was like, "Oh, okay." You are going by the dictionary definition of socialism, which the state owns the means of production, blah blah blah. But
that's Marxism in particular.
Yeah. But I think we actually do have that. I think we do have that. We have kind of like backdoor socialism. I was trying to put together a way of articulating it, but I own a company. You own a company. They can tax us and raise our taxes at will. They control us with regulation. They control our speech. They essentially control the means of production. They might not own it, but they kind of pseudo-own us.
If I say something, I mean, I don't even know. It's entirely likely at this point we'll say something and the government will come for us. It's just entirely likely now.
I'm surprised I haven't been arrested yet.
Honestly, we've never had any problem with the law because as far as I'm aware, we stay within the law, obviously. But the point being, if they can just continually just arbitrarily make laws to tighten the noose around us.
Yes.
You're exactly right. And the thing is, there is a name for this. So at the beginning of the 20th century, the end of the 19th century, the communists realized the revolution just wasn't coming.
Yeah.
Right. It's not happening. And so three things happened to the socialist project, the communist project. And socialism is kind of the mechanism to achieve communism, right? So there is no difference between communism and socialism. Three things happened. The first was fascism. People realized, oh, right, that's not going to happen, but we could have something radically different, but coming out of that tradition. And so all of the great fascists were in some way socialists themselves. I mean, like, you read anything by Mussolini or Hitler, you'll realize, I mean, Mussolini edited a socialist newspaper for a decade before he became a fascist. And Hitler spent his younger years just arguing with Marxists all the time. So they're very much in that sort of milieu. The second thing that happened was vanguardism. And this came with Vladimir Lenin, and he ended up overthrowing the provisional government in Russia and setting up the Soviet Union. And the third thing was Fabianism. And that's what the British did. That's what happened in England. So it was going to be socialism by degree, slowly but surely, democratically implementing change after change after change after change. And so Tony Blair and the new Labour government were just an expression of this Fabian desire to have everything under the rubric of the state. And we see it. We feel it now.
But I don't understand why they want it.
Morals.
But if they've read any history, everything they want is set to lead us to poverty,
yes,
violence, and failure.
Yes.
And it's like, look, I can understand.
But hang on, stop there, right? It's set to lead us to X.
But it never has in the history.
No. It leads us to it leads us all to the same place. You are completely correct about this, because the driving moral principle they operate under is equality. It's going to be the same for everyone. It's just whenever you want anything to be equal, that means the lowest common denominator.
Like, if one of my kids came to me with socialist ideas, I'd accept it. You know, they're young, impressionable.
Mm-hmm.
If you say to a youngster, should people be homeless? Should we give them houses? Yeah, we should give them houses. Is it fair that there's guys with billions and there's people who can't feed the children? No, should we take from the billion? Like, I totally understand why they'll come to that point.
Yeah.
I'll slap it out of them, but
Sure.
I totally understand when it comes to that point. When a grown adult who is the leader of a country still has immature socialist ideas. I don't understand why. I don't understand. Like, I've got a moral framework, but I have to break my moral framework sometimes because I'm
pay
wrong.
your council tax?
No. But for example, right? Like, I spent a lot of time with libertarians and quite anarchist libertarians.
Yeah.
And I went down and I was like, yeah, you're right. There should be no government and we should all be, live freely and we should all have guns and protect ourselves. Because that takes us that kind of moral place of life, liberty, pursuit of happiness that no one should be in. But there is I have to break that because I know it won't work. If you get rid of government, a new government will replace it. And they might be worse and they might not protect our freedoms. So I'm like, okay, I have to accept a little government because there's no existence without government. But there's no world where anyone can explain or justify any form of socialism to me because there's fucking hundreds, thousands of books that tell you it fails every single time. It leads to mass death, starvation.
But the thing is, they don't care. That's not the problem.
They want short-term equality.
It's not even short-term. When we are all impoverished and terrorized by violent thugs running on the street, that'll be equality. Like, there will be no differential between
But the
people.
sacrifices, the trade-offs they're willing to accept.
They're completely fine with it. They're completely fine with it. And the thing is, they tell us this all the time. In every action they take an action that is designed to equalize the law-abiding and the criminal. Like, in every action they take. And it's like, well, sorry, I'm not going to give you any benefit of the doubt. You are in favor. I mean, the thing is, it's the way that they build their worldview, right? So they from the sort of libertarian perspective, the libertarian perspective views society as a series of conscious choices between intelligent agents, right? As in, you get up, you found a business, and so you're going to be nice to your neighbor because you like your neighbor, and you know that if you don't, it'll be rough for him. So for you, society is something that you are an active agent within, and it is the product of your agency, right? For the socialist, they view society as something that happens to other people. So the socialist views the criminal as someone look at his circumstances, an abusive dad, or his dad was absent and he was on these rough streets. And so how can he be held accountable for any of the things that he's done? Because really he's just sort of a conduit through which the universe is channeled. And so they see society completely differently. And if the society itself is what made this man bad, and you pay your taxes, you are the problem. You have oppressed this man through your law-abiding, tax-paying, business-owning behaviors.
You piece of shit.
Yes, that's literally why they're screeching about someone like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk, right? These people pay all the taxes that are demanded of them.
Not exactly.
Look, okay. Look, hang on.
The corporate side of the international companies.
There is. You're right. I was being far too blasé there. I don't want to get into that rabbit hole a sec.
But they do pay a lot of taxes. They do. Society.
Sure. But the point is, as far as I can tell, they stay within the laws.
Yeah.
And if they didn't, I'm sure there'd be a million lefties online screeching, "This is a law he has broken. Arrest him!" Right. But it's not even about them. It's about the average person who owns a small business or works in a normal business and pays their taxes, is polite, does everything they're supposed to do. Well, if you think that this person has been made bad by society, then the society itself is the problem, and the people who uphold the society are guilty. And we see this coming out of the left all the time.
I know.
All the time.
Oh, it says me.
I mean, if you think about in the last 10 years, the way the left has characterized our societies, racist, sexist, oppressive, patriarchal, imperialist, all of these sort of terms are all to make us think of our own societies as intrinsically bad. And they're not lying to you when they say this is what they think. They think we live in an oppressive society. They think our laws are oppressing people. They think the prisons are a form of oppression. This is why you hear abolish prisons, prison reform. The police are a form of oppression. It's like, yeah, okay, maybe for the criminal, but screw that guy. I don't care, Like, I'm not on his side. My morality is not the morality of we need to save criminals from themselves. No, that's what we have punishments for. And the criminals can make the choice at any point. And if the left thinks that they're not like rational agents, why are they even allowed on the streets? The left is treating them like animals, like they'd escaped from a zoo or something. It's like, well, sorry, if they're not rational agents, then that's a different conversation. But the thing is, this is genuinely how they think of criminals. This is why Keir Starmer goes around going like, well, we need to save the child rapists from being executed in Jamaica. It's like, why? Because they're a victim of society. They're a victim of their own circumstances. No, I think they had a choice there, actually. And the thing is as well, notice that what this does is it kind of isolates the thing in the point of time, right? The way they think is never on a continuum, because you could trace that child murderer back to the point at which he's stabbing the child and say, okay, stop there, liberal. You know, are we interested in power dynamics here? The power dynamic between the murderer and the child that he murders? Are we talking about power dynamics? Are we talking about mercy? Are we talking about what someone has done to them? No, it's always long after the fact. They're not interested in actually analyzing this as a sequence of coherent events. They are just looking at the poor guy. Look, he's in jail. Isn't that sad? It's not really his fault. It's actually our fault that he's done this. And so we're the problem. And this is genuinely what they think.
Carl, somebody asked me the other day, they said, Pete, it's not as bad as you think it is. I think you think it's bad because of the world you're in and the interviews you're doing. and you're just, and I was like, no, but I did take a step back. I did question myself and go, is it? Is it because I'm basically every day, well, 2 or 3 days a week, I'm sitting down with people like you who feel like I feel.
Yeah.
And they're saying, no, everything is fucked. And I was like, is it because I'm in that world? Or is it? And I came back to the conclusion. I said, no, everything is fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, everything is genuinely fucked right now. And so I started looking into, this is the kind of thing that probably will get me arrested or a tap at the door, but can you remove a democratically elected government in the UK? And I did an interview the other day. A guy fucking cut it. I was so gutted. He said, what's the most controversial view you hold? I was like, oh, we can remove the Labour Party from power. He's like, what? I said, well, look. And I'd been going down the rabbit hole of consent, which Thomas Jefferson talked about, John Locke talked about. And they said consent is active. It's not just at the point of the election. You have to have the consent of the people. I was like, okay, well, yeah, I didn't vote for the Labour Party. I guess they had my consent. I'm not a bad loser. You have my consent. They don't have my consent anymore because they're actively destroying the country. I can live under a shitty Labour Party and disagree with their rules and their taxation. But when I see them destroy, like, real economic vandalism, so you don't have my consent.
It's not just the economic, though, is it?
Well, it's everything.
It's everything.
But what the point I'm trying to get to is that life's okay for me. I can leave. I'm not going to be bankrupt. I'm okay. I've got myself to that position. But I'm watching around me, companies, businesses close down, restaurants close down, shops close down, people losing their jobs, unable to find jobs, kids going to university, coming out with loads of debt, cannot get jobs at the moment. I am seeing people struggling. I'm thinking, no. My problem now is you're destroying our country. You are weaponizing the law against people. You're destroying liberties. It's pure economic vandalism. You don't care about free speech. Like, fuck you people. You no longer have my consent. So I was like, well, can we actually bring down a government? And how would you? And should we? Is it that bad? Are we at a time where it's like, we can suck it up for another couple of years, wait for another election? Or as a nation, if people are that pissed off, should we remove them? And how would we? Peacefully. I said peacefully. Yeah. Don't send your goons. And I looked at the Velvet Revolution in Czechoslovakia, and I was like, that's really interesting. They removed a government without a shot being fired. And I was like, can this and should this be done?
So I just want to make it very clear to Mr. Starmer that I'm very committed to the democratic process.
I'm committed to the democratic process, but I think protests on the streets are democratic.
Yeah.
I think strikes are democratic.
Correct.
And I'm wondering, because, what percentages of the vote did they get? 37%?
33% of the votes cast and 20% of the potential vote.
Okay. And how many of those people would vote for them tomorrow?
Not very many.
I don't think they even would have 10% of the vote. Maybe they would. Let's be
they're
generous.
about 25% when polled, which I think is probably over-egging it, but that's still really bad.
I think the majority of the country hates them and wants rid of them.
Yes.
Okay? Now, when you have a company and you have a board, if the majority of the company hates the CEO and wants rid of them and can get rid of them, they'll get rid of them. If they are destroying the company, they'll get rid of them. And so what is, and no, I'm just questioning, should we? Because I'm surprised there aren't more protests at the moment.
So it's an interesting thing, isn't it?
Like if there were mass protests, millions on the streets, massive strikes, could there be a vote no confidence against the government?
So on this podcast, you are definitely hearing me talk about Bitcoin a lot. Well, why? We live in a really strange time with governments driving inflation with their reckless spending and endless money printing. There is a way out of this. There is a way to protect your money, and that is by stacking Bitcoin. I've made loads of shows about Bitcoin. You can go and research this, you can go and read the books, but the truth is it is the hardest money ever created. If you are interested in protecting your financial future, it's time for you to get on the Bitcoin train. I've been stacking Bitcoin personally and through my businesses since 2017. It's protected me, it's secured my family's future, and it also strengthens all of my businesses. So if you want to start stacking Bitcoin, where do you do it? Well, for me, it's with Gemini. They're a fully licensed, full reserve exchange and custodian, so they give you a secure way for you to buy and own your Bitcoin. There's no risks and no funny business. So if you're serious about stacking Bitcoin the right way, head over to Gemini.com, which is GEMINI.com.
It would have to come from within the Labour Party, though.
Sure.
And the Labour Party isn't known for doing that, because they don't care, right? For them, they obsess about power as a means to bring about their ideal end state, right? So for the Conservatives, and this is just a real problem with the Conservatives, they don't really have any ideology. They don't really have firm moral groundings. And so the Conservatives, they want to repair, but the Labour Party want to change. And so the Conservatives are always essentially in the wake of whatever it is the Labour Party have done, like a boat going through the water, and the Conservatives are always in the ripples. But it's the Labour Party that drives the boat because they're the ones with the vision of the future. And so the Labour Party are never inclined to, when they've got control of the helm, they're never inclined to go, oh, I think we might have done the wrong thing there. Maybe this guy needs to go and we'll have an election because we're fair-minded and we care about the country. No, they have already stigmatized the country. They already see the country as being essentially in a fallen state, and they just are not inclined to do it. I don't see how Starmer can just continue with the charade that he's the legitimate prime minister.
Well, I think Wes Streeton desperately wants his job.
Sure, but none of them are legitimate. They don't have, legitimacy is a strange sort of magic in politics where people just feel, yep, that's the correct person. Like when Nigel Farage wins, and I think he will feel legitimate, right? But the problem is he will be hamstrung by his own lack of ability to network, frankly. Who's he got around him who you'd expect to see in a cabinet? Oh, great. We're going to have Lee Anderson, are we? We're going to have Richard Tice. Brilliant. That's our best and brightest, is it? And it's not that I don't dislike Lee Anderson or Richard Tice, but come on, man. We're in some dire straits at the moment. And
We need heavyweights.
Farage should have just some of the best in the country around him, but he's been really bad at making alliances, actually, and keeping hold of half-decent people. So even when he wins, I don't think he's going to be able to use the victory. But I don't see there's
a
any
bigger challenge as well. Have you read The Populist Delusion?
I have, yeah.
So I'm working my way through that book at the moment, and
I know the author.
I'm trying to get him on the show.
I can put in a good word for you if you like.
Well, no, he's actually we've messaged. He's going to come on because I was trying to understand, because I've got my concerns with reform. I think they're the best option we have, but what I fear is they come in and nothing changes.
Yeah.
And so I started reading The Populist Delusion. Somebody directed me. They said, I heard you talk about the podcast. You should read The Populist Delusion. I'm like, I started reading that book and I got very depressed. I was like, oh, fuck, yeah, we're fucked. We're absolutely fucked. We need a Milei.
So, yeah, what we need is a very switched on group of professional politicos at the very least, who know what needs to be done and will do it.
Well, where will that come from?
Well, that's the great question. Where will that come from? Nigel Farage should be cultivating them right now, but instead he seems to have cultivated a bunch of limp-wristed yes men who are afraid to challenge him because Nigel Farage for some reason feels insecure, which is really weird because if you look at him, he is the genuine king of the right wing in Britain. He should be like, with Trump hands out sort of largesse, right? He'll do his rallies. He'll get whoever the local guy is on stage, vote for this guy. He's great. I love this guy. Farage never does any of these things. He's very cagey. He's very afraid. He's scared that someone else is going to steal the spotlight from him, which is really weird because, he is Nigel Farage. Like, his name is iconic at this point for right-wing politics. There's no one who can usurp him. So why does he feel insecure about being usurped? I mean, when Rupert Lowe got kicked out of the party, you know, it's the first thing on, I think it was Talk TV, the first interview, Nigel was like, he's trying to take over the party. It's like, Nigel, you have absolute control over that party. There is literally no mechanism to remove you. At the time there wasn't, and there probably still isn't. Why are you saying this? And it's because of moral fear, because Nigel is never the guy actually leading from the front. And when someone starts to lead, he gets a bit worried about them. And so it's like, okay, great.
But that's leadership in itself. How many people do you employ?
14, 15, something like that.
Okay. You've already got probably leadership challenges. And when you become 50, 80, 100, as you scale that business, it only works by empowering good people around you.
Oh, yeah.
Who do things that you used to do better than you would do it.
I know.
that is pure leadership. I mean, I listened to this interview with Andy Street, and that's what you talked about with Birmingham City Council, is finding good people, and it's all about leadership.
I need you to do the job.
Yeah, and do it better than me.
Yeah, exactly.
And shine in the public.
Yeah.
That's because this is what I feel. I mean, I agree with you. I'm waiting for the announcement of a CEO of a company or multiple CEOs of companies or experts in trade or economics to be put forward and say, these are our candidates. And it's like, yeah, great.
Yeah.
I believe this party can do it. Interestingly, I think Ben Habib's trying to do that with Advance.
Yep.
I don't know if you've spoken to him recently.
Not for a while. I've been on holiday for a bit, so I don't know what he's done in the last couple of weeks.
Well, they're building this council
Yeah.
of super smart, intelligent people. And I think that's really, I actually even said to him, I said, the biggest shame is, and I know it can't happen, but you, Nigel, Rupert, that is a group of 3 people I can get behind.
And yet Nigel has kicked them out.
I know.
Like, it's crazy. But I just don't think Nigel's got it in him at this point. The thing is,
Well, he needs to, though, because he's going to win. Everybody
I think he's going to win too.
I swear it's more than 50% of the people I speak to. And look, I know what my cohort's like. Are all like, I'm voting reform.
Yeah. But the thing is, Nigel is the last of the paradigm, right? So do you remember, did you ever watch Men Behaving Badly?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, right. That's Nigel, right? Did you ever watch Love Actually?
Probably was playing on my phone when my girlfriend was watching it.
That's the sort of Keir Starmer, right? So you see in the paradigm, am I wrong?
No.
Right? I think people are looking at this wrong. So, and it's the same with like Red Dwarf and sort of Rimmer and Lister, right?
Yep.
You've got these 2 sort of personality types where you've got the new man back in the late 90s, early 2000s, a new modern man who's feminist, who's respectful, you know, who's all these things. And then you have the beery lout, who's the man behaving badly, but he's got heart of gold. You know, he's not a bad guy, but he's not prim, proper, respectable. He understands that in the social realm, he is the kind of underclass to this new morality that's been brought in. And the new men have categorically failed, right?
Yep.
Everything that's bad about the civilization we live in now is because of Tony Blair and his new men.
Yeah, weak men.
It's not just they're weak, it's they're ideological. They believe something that is just completely contrary to human nature.
But I think ideology is a weakness.
Oh, yeah, I agree. Okay.
Yeah, it's
fair
a
enough.
pure weakness.
Sure, totally is. But the point is they believed a bunch of things that they thought made them morally superior, but just were not in congruence with human nature. And the Men Behaving Badly, the Nigel Farage types, were always there at the sidelines to go, well, you know, I think you might be wrong about this. I think you might be wrong about that. And now that the new men have completely failed everything, literally everything, in every sphere of endeavor, the last new man is Keir Starmer, and God, isn't he embarrassing? The Men Behaving Badly from this old time are coming back now, and they are making good points about a lot of things. And Nigel Farage is that guy. I mean, he's in previous eras, he was considered to be a beery lout, you know?
I think there's a reason why, is in that perfect man is a hard thing to live up to. We've all got our failings. I know what I will be cancelled for if I ever become a politician. I know my dark secrets. I know the stupid shit I've done, the drugs I've taken, and the parties I've like.
You were one of the Men Behaving Badly.
Yeah, but
so was I.
But the truth is this is why I think Trump was one of the reasons Trump was so successful. There's no way a man who bangs a porn star should be a president. They've done the things he's done, but actually having someone with their failings out there in public, that they're not perfect. They've done some shit that they shouldn't have done. It allows us to have made mistakes.
It does. But the thing is, the new man was always a fiction to begin with, right? The new man was always a fake.
Of course.
This is why the politicians seem so plastic for the last 20 years. Like, because they say the rote politically correct lines, but there's nothing real about that. They're not real. What they are is kind of, faces, masks that are put on a machine, to just spew the machine's lines. And so, but the problem is, and Nigel Farage said this himself, he's like, look, I'm the last chance of what I guess we can just call the sort of Blairite paradigm. The men behaving badly are coming back to try and save what they grew up in, what they are a product of. But the thing is, I don't think there is any saving this. And I think if they're the last line of defense, something's gone terribly wrong, right?
God, well, how does that play out? What reform when nothing changes?
Riots, probably. I mean, what happens if, like, you know that in the Starmer bunker, every morning they get up and say, right, has there been any horrific things? And they're like, no, just the stabbing in London, which is pretty par for the course now.
Inflation's up,
crime unchecked. It's all just the gradual decline.
Yeah.
Is just nothing dramatic. And you know that Starmer's like, oh, thank God, not today. And then every afternoon he comes back from lunch, he's all right, no one's died, have they? It's like, well, not unusually. But at any point, another Axel Rudikabana could do something, another Manchester Arena bombing. At any point, this could happen. And this is the tension that they live on. Well, what happens when Nigel Farage, Prime Minister, he is faced with this challenge? He doesn't have any answers.
And he's probably going to face it.
He's not even probably, he's certainly going to face it. Like, if we think that the social issues we're facing are going to get any better on their own, which I don't think they are, he's certainly going to face it. So what does he do? And the answer is he doesn't know, because really he's cut from the same cloth as Keir Starmer. Because if you actually ask Nigel Farage, oh, are you a racist? He'll say, no, God, no. Of course I'm not a racist. In exactly the same way that Keir Starmer would. Now, I'm not saying that we have to be racist or anything like this, but what I'm saying is they come from, they're roughly the same age, they come from the same country, they come from the same culture, they believe the same things, just to different degrees. And so Nigel Farage isn't going to go way outside of that paradigm to fix any of the problems. And so he's trapped within that continuum, whether he likes it or not, because he was born and raised and...
But he doesn't need to be.
I don't know. I'm not saying he does, but the issue is that modern politics is entirely liberal, and that has a telos in it. It has a purpose to that. And that purpose is to kind of liberate us from what we are. And I mean, it sounds laughable, but...
Well, Carl, you're basically saying we're fucked.
We are, that's why.
We're utterly fucked.
Yeah, but you know we are.
Yes and no. I mean, probably, yeah. I set a time limit on it. I was like, at the next election, if Labour somehow were re-elected, I'm gone.
No, God.
Yeah, I'll see you later. I'm moving out.
Don't even say it unless you bring it into existence.
And if Reform or Conservatives win, I give them a year. And if nothing changes, I'm gone.
Yeah.
I'm out. There's no point. I'll be 50. It's like, what's the point? I mean, you could die at 55. No one really cares if you die at 55. They care more if if you die at 20, 30, you have a candlelit vigil. But when you get to like 55, it's like you're in that zone. You're a candidate.
I think the people who depend on you might care.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, generally speaking, it's like, it's not a young death. And it's like, final innings. I mean, I don't think I'm going to be running around at 60, 65. So it's like, how many good years do I have left?
Why don't you think you'll be running around at 60, 65?
Because I want to be on. I just don't think I'm going to have the energy to do.
Right.
Am I going to have the energy to run a football club, come to London twice a week to make 4 podcasts, run a coffee shop and a bar, and also fight my local council and police? I'm not going to have the energy. I'm already feeling tired. It's like, well,
what's the plan?
Carl, I've worked my bollocks off for 30 years. I'm tired. If there's no hope, I'm going to go to the Caribbean. I'm going to sit on the beach and I'm going to read books about how great the world was, and probably getting book recommendations from you. And because I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
And so I've got to live with this hope that something's going to change in the next 3 years. And what can I do? So please don't say we're fucked. This is what I'm trying to do in Bedford.
I mean, I'm finding myself inclined towards the same angle, actually. I'm thinking, I've got some money aside. I could invest that and try and build something. But
buy Bitcoin.
I might.
You're not too late.
Am I not?
No,
I feel like I'm too late.
If I thought you were too late, I'd sell mine.
Right, okay. Interesting.
You're not too late. It
Right.
goes up forever.
Really?
Yeah, because governments aren't going to stop printing money. I mean, what is it? Rachel Reeves is going to buy 140 billion this year. 80 billion is paid debt interest. This is a Ponzi,
I hate
man.
hearing it.
Yeah, this is a Ponzi. And if they keep printing money, and that's happening all around the world. There's only 21 million Bitcoin. It goes up forever. I keep telling everyone, it goes up forever. Yeah, like a roller coaster.
Sure, but
It's
it's been
towers.
pretty consistent on the.
It goes up forever.
But the thing is, this is the problem. We're trapped into a bunch of commitments that we made during good years that are not actually sustainable.
No, it's entirely unsustainable. But
everything
it's worse
about
than
the
that.
boomer paradigm, basically, everything the boomers were promised. So you're going to have social health care, you're going to have welfare, you're going to have pensions, and this is going to be like this forever. And the boomers like, great, I'll only have 2 kids then. It's like, no, it's a pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
It has to continue growing. And the fact that you only had 2 kids when you yourself came from a family of 6 kids means that the pyramid is no longer growing at the base. It's truncated.
It goes by the way, it goes back to that problem we spoke about earlier. Debt interest is whatever, 80 billion a
God
year,
only
borrowing
knows.
140 billion.
Yeah.
It's more than we spend on education. Okay. Education is being chipped at. So to be able to afford this, we're making our country dumber,
Yes.
which will mean we'll be less be able to afford it. It's this vicious cycle that we are plunging our country into.
Yeah. And there are forces acting on us that we don't even realize either. I'm weirdly obsessed with language. If you read a book from 100 years ago, you notice that it's more rich to read, right?
It's harder to read. I tried to. Starkey recommended Burke's Reflections on the Revolution in France. I was trying to read it. I was like, I actually had to go and get it. Basically,
Really?
well, because I got the original.
Yeah, I
writing.
did as well.
I didn't realize there's almost translated versions. So I was going to ChatGPT. I was like, explain this to me.
Yeah, but that's the point. There are concepts he's using that are laden with several layers of meaning that we don't use anymore. But those are important because they give us a more deep understanding of the world around us.
Okay.
Like the difficulty in the language is something you should have been inculcated into when you were a kid. But of course, that creates some people who can't understand it.
Yeah.
That's not equal.
Hmm.
And so for the sake of equality, that's all been slowly but surely phased out of the education system.
Everyone's a winner.
Everyone's a winner
Here's the trophy.
and everyone becomes dumb.
So what are you going to do locally then? Because I'm balls deep into mine now. There's no turning back. What do you see as the problem that needs fixing? And have you got to the point where you even know how to fix it, or what you think is how to fix it? What even is it you fix it? Is it the town centre, basically?
Someone on Twitter the other day called me the patron saint of lost causes. And I think in a lot of ways, I was like, well, that I feel accurately resounding.
That hits hard.
Yeah. I find myself attracted to lost causes. I don't like it when people join the winning team because it's easy, right? I think that's for losers. Actually, that's for cowards. I like a challenge, and I like Swindon a lot. I've really enjoyed my time there. I've made so many good friends there, and I've had such a good life there. And I don't want to just abandon it. And so I would like to use the capital that I have to set up small businesses that do things. But the problem is that's not that easy. The council and the very nature of the foot traffic itself make it challenging. So I don't know. I'm currently exploring options because I think I could raise some money if I needed to raise some money. And I think a lot of people would appreciate if I did do some things.
Are you known locally?
Ish. I get people stopping me in the street, but that happens kind of everywhere. So
Right.
I can't really say one or the other, but I do my best. I'm not someone who's objectionable to people. I think, I don't do anything to anyone. But it's just I just would like to, because Swindon town centre just looks it looks post-apocalyptic. It's just falling apart, and it's like, well, I could set up a cafe there, I could set up a bookshop here or something. I don't know. I could do something. It probably wouldn't succeed in the long run just because of the nature of the amount of money you get taxed and the amount of regulations that there are and all this sort of stuff. But I just feel that I should do something.
I want to talk to you about one of my sponsors, Incogni. And that means we're going to talk about the weird world of spam. And I don't just mean those spam emails that you get day after day from companies you never heard of and companies you've never signed up to. I'm also talking about those spam phone calls you get from those people who seem to know a little bit too much about you, trying to get your bank details. It's all a bit creepy, right? Now, this all comes from the world of data brokerage. There are companies out there collecting your data, building profiles, and sending that data to anyone who wants it, which is why when one of those scammers phones you up, they seem to know everything about you. Now, I've tried myself to get off these lists, try to get off the phone lists, try to get off the email lists. I'm subscribed from every one of these emails that comes in, but this game of whack-a-mole, it just never ends. And so this is where Incogni comes in. They do all the hard work for you. They reach out to these companies and they will get you legally removed from these lists. And I know because the last time they sponsored my show, I signed up and I didn't take the free option that they offered me. I wanted to pay for it. I wanted to see if you get value for money. And they removed me from 79 data broker lists. And so I've stayed on. I've stayed a subscriber and I have seen a massive decrease in the number of emails and phone calls I've been getting. So it's a great service. I recommend you check it out. If you're sick of this like I was, please head over to incogni.com/Peter and sign up. If you use the code Peter, you will get a lovely 60% discount. So that's incogni.com/Peter. Shall I give you my playbook?
Yeah, go on.
So I think it's a game of chess. It's a game of chess with lots of players. Business, residents, council, police. And if you've got a prison, that's another one. But it's a game of chess between them all.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at the problems. I look at each one. The businesses that are there, that exist, want to survive and make a bit of money. So they need customers. The residents, some of them don't want to come into the town centre because one, they think it's a shithole. Two, in Bedford, they think it's dangerous. Then you've got the institutions, which is the police, the prison, and the council, who are all restricted by what's being mandated from central government and their own just general challenges. And so my view is that to save a town centre, you have got to have a lot of people going into it, spending money. I would open more businesses. If my cafe turns a profit by the end of this year, which I think it will, it's on trajectory, it's growing every month, I'm like, okay, this is doable. But that has to be the same for me, the other cafes, the other shops. So you've got to get people into the town centre. So for me, it's just, firstly, it's safety. Secondly, it's beautification. Thirdly, it's kind of cultural events as a reason to come in. Fourth is economic incentives. But the biggest one is challenging anyone locally who says, I think Bedford is a shithole, is to say, you're part of the problem. And say, the only way Bedford will change is if you make a conscious effort to go in more than you do and spend more money in the town. And it's even more than that, actually. So Deliveroo, we as a family made a decision this week. If we use Deliveroo, we are only ordering from local companies. We're not going to get... Connor, my son, you're not allowed any more Domino's. You're going to go to Etna Pizza because that's local and locally run. We're not going to get Waggers. We're going to get Rice Thai because that's local. And if we're going to get a cup of coffee, we're going to get it from anywhere but Starbucks or Costa. We're going to always shop local, but also go into the town and mooch around. But that's the biggest challenge, getting people to do that. But it's all a game of chess with the institutions. So my play, I don't know if it's the right one, is to be loud and annoying. Called out the PCC, John Tizard. I've said he's weak. I don't actually think we need their office anymore. I think, the 2.5 million they're spending should all be frontline officers in the town centre. But I've just gone out and very publicly said he's weak, he should resign. We need more officers in the town. The prison needs to stop releasing people onto the streets who aren't from Bedford and just start doing things. So we've got on Saturday, we've got our first pilot scheme where we've got private security in the town. From 8 in the morning to 6 in the afternoon, 10 private security guards who work for a company I use, and they're like a security blanket. And it's really great. So many people have got in touch with me. There's a guy who runs a security company who's going to help monitor and manage that and the data. Another guy's got in touch with me. He's got a cleaning company. He said, I'm going to bring people into the town. We're going to go around and clear up the town. And so all these people are starting to come forward to help. But
I'm not waiting. The play is not to wait for the institutions. It's to build your own shadow. Shadow sounds secretive, but it's your own parallel institution. And that parallel institution is me and whoever wants to join me to make the town better. And in doing things, what's been really interesting, so the police turned up at my cafe. I called out John Tizard because he called it what I was doing, a political stunt. Had the chief superintendent, had the chief inspector, and the lady who's the head of police in the town. They said, how can we work together? And I was like, that's brilliant. Come on Saturday, we'll all work together. I've reached out to the council. We're going to get CCTV radios. We're going to merge our cleaning teams. And essentially our parallel institution, they can't stop. We're not infringing anyone's rights. So many people have come forward and wanted to help. We had 60 turn up about our meeting. And we're going to go out and just do what the council and the police can't do because we're privately funded and it's our way. Part 2 is I found out you've got to go deep down the rabbit hole and find out where the problems stem from. The prison is a problem. And the majority of the addicts that I meet on the street aren't even from Bedford. And if you look into outcomes, the best outcomes are those who are in the town, they've got connections. I'm going to pay people to leave. If I meet a drug addict or where are you from? I'm from Northampton. Great. Okay, I'm going to provide you a hotel, connect you with local services, book you a taxi and give you some money and I'm going to take you back to Northampton. And just start changing it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's costing money. I mean, these 2 programs alone is 20 grand, but it's accepted. I think if people have the capital and the will and they know the institutions aren't going to save them, to me, it's build parallel institutions. And you cannot lose in the, I want you to fuck up. You cannot lose in the public eye because everybody knows there's a problem. And if the institutions fight you, they're only digging a bigger hole for themselves. They have to work with you. So you've just got to get out there. You've got to be vocal, loud, and do stuff. And I swear you'll be amazed the amount of people who get in touch with you and say, how can I help?
Yeah, no, I think you're on something here. Well, I mean, Swindon doesn't have a prison, so the criminality is, I mean, there is crime obviously, but like it's just not the thing that I think is weighing on people's minds. It's the beauty, actually. It's the fact.
Straight to step 2 then.
Yeah, that's really the issue. And I would like to create beautiful things in Swindon. I mean, ultimately, my dream would be for some plucky billionaire who cares about things to give me about 5 million quid so I could buy the Mechanics Institute and do it up. Because
what is that?
So the Mechanics Institute is it was a charitable foundation. So Swindon was obviously famous for its railroads and train manufacture, and the workers would chip together and they put the money into this Mechanics Institute, it became the sort of birthplace of the NHS, the primary role. So any of the workers could go there to get healthcare or anything they needed. And everyone would chip in a little bit. And it's a lovely old building. And so, but it's been left to moulder. It's completely
Is it in the centre?
It's very close to the centre, yeah. And so it would be a lovely thing to buy and restore and to actually have as a kind of tourist attraction. You know, you could, it's such a gorgeous building and it costs a lot of money to properly do it up, but it'd be so worth it in the end. And at the moment it's just boarded up with, and I'm not even joking, they've got they've got boards all over it and a fence around it. And on the fence, they've painted like ghostly black and white people.
We've got that in Bedford.
Like they're in the afterlife or
Look
something.
like Slender Man.
Yeah. And it's just like, what are you doing? Like the place is haunted with ghosts of memories past. And it's like, this is awful. This is a kind of psychic attack on the people who have to see it every day. Whereas instead, okay, it costs a bit of money, but we could do something really nice with it. And it could be a tourist attraction. It could be, you know, set up as a library or something. I don't know. Do whatever you want. Do something nice with it.
If you went into Swindon Town Centre, would there be at least a couple of places you'd like to go into and you could spend money? Cafes, restaurants?
There are a couple. Yeah.
That's the seed.
Yeah.
So what I want to do, there's a Debenhams in the town centre. Obviously, it's closed down.
Same here.
I'd love to get hold of that. Up in Macclesfield.
For us, there's a Wilco's. There's a Wilco's.
Yeah.
£2 million for this building. I'm like eyeing it thinking, can I get that as a loan?
Well, so there's up in Macclesfield, there's Mac Hall or something. I can't remember what they call. What they did is somebody took it over and they turned it into a food hall where you have a bar down one side and on the other side you have lots of different food options. There's a pizza guy and I don't know, burger guy, whatever. And you and I could go there, Carl, and I want pizza and you want a burger. And we go and get our little buzzers. We order a beer each and we sit there. These places are packed because they've been designed around the reality of, like, when I was a kid, my mum would make dinner for 5 of us and we would eat that. I try and make dinner in the evening. I've got 5 people to keep happy and everyone wants different things. There's never a time never a time where all 5 of us eat the same thing. But that's what these food halls are great at. And what apparently has happened is around these places, you start to get new companies that prop up that support that.
Because there's traffic.
Because of the traffic. So you've got to get people in the town centre. So I want to do that in this Debenhams. Then on the first floor, I want to get the hospital to do their outpatient visits there. They did, I think it's in the Glassworks. I think that might be Bradford, but I'd have to double check that. They did that, and that brings people into the town, and then they go to the coffee shop or the bookstore. And if you start to build reasons to come to the town, people come into town, and when they spend money, they'll spend money in, if it's especially if it's middle class people, they'll spend money in the better places, and you'll get them. This is all I think about. How do we get people in the town centre? Cultural days. I would love the council. Bedford High Street isn't that big. Every Friday evening to pedestrianise it and have food carts and seating outside all the restaurants and things, just give people a reason to come in. If you keep doing this, and then if the money, like in Bedford, if every person's, if it was average of £10 each a week, that's 50 million a year. Now I go in every week, spend 100 quid, so I'm covering 9 people. I know other people are similar, but if you're going to inject 50 million a year into the town centre, you're going to get endless new businesses built. And you can even get over the hurdles that the Conservative created. It is the Conservatives, and now Labour have created with minimum wage and national insurance hikes and regulation and blah, blah, all that bullshit they've put in place. You can actually get over that hurdle. But you've got to get people in the town centre. That's it. Everything is about getting people in the town centre. If you don't get people in the town centre, it doesn't matter what you do. I can put these security guards in place. If nobody comes in, I can't. Nothing's going to change.
No, I think you're exactly right.
All the economic foundations. I hope you do it.
I'm going to try. My wife is like, "What are you doing now?" I'm like, "Well, I don't know. I just feel like it's a good idea, even if it's not necessarily successful on its own terms. I think I could probably find a use for it through social media or something like that, right? But I would like for it to be successful on its own terms. How long has your cafe been running?
We opened in the back end of March.
Oh, right. So not long.
No, not long at all.
Right, okay.
Yeah. And do you know what? The numbers are interesting.
Yeah.
So I'll get it up. So by month. So the first proper month was April. And we took 16,700. So take off your VAT. Well, you lose money. We lost £2,500 that month.
Yeah, but that's not that terrible.
It's not terrible. It's a good turnover, but it's not enough to turn a profit because you have staff costs are high. You got to have 2 people in there the whole time because of safety and whatever, and then you got your cost of your goods. We lost £2,500 that month. We then dropped to 12.5, which I fully expected because first month we're new, people check us out. But we've grown every month. So May was 12.5, June was 13.2. We're at 14,000 now in July with the rest of today and tomorrow to go. So we should get 4,500. That'd be a £1,300 growth. My projection is that we will have our first profitable month around November. If that's sustainable, then it's a sustainable business. I don't need it to make me a lot of money.
No, that's
I just
not the
need
point.
it to be profitable. And if it is, it's like, what's the next one? And we've designed it in a way that you kind of feel like you're going into a coffee shop in London.
Well, that's. I mean, I would have something. I'm thinking something very similar actually. I would have it a bit more quirky, I guess. To because there are some coffee shops around us, and they seem to do fine. But yeah, I totally agree. I'm not looking to make millions out of it, but I want something that can just exist and can occupy the space and be a beautiful space in and of itself and something very appealing to go to. Because, I mean, frankly, I'd like something like that to go in and just read books or whatever, right? But it means that the shop front isn't just a decaying wreck. And, like I said, I'm not expecting to become a multimillionaire or something, but I just would like it to exist so it's not ugly, so it's not disgusting. So there's a reason you don't feel out of sorts when you're walking through the town. You don't feel like the civilization has moved on somewhere else. Right. And I really hate this feeling of dispossession. I think it's terrifying, frankly. And it's like, okay, well, look, if we just let this happen, then what are we giving to our kids? I've got 4 kids. I don't want them to grow up in a town where they're like, why is this the town that we've inherited?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, sorry, son, I don't know.
But it's only going to happen from action and big action from individuals who go out there and say, I'm not fucking having this. I'm not fucking having this.
I teased it on a live stream the other day. I was like, look, guys, I might be starting a crowdfunder. I'm not even going to tell you what it's for. But trust me, it'll be for something useful.
Well, I budgeted something even bigger. So I looked at what could I do if I could raise, say, 40 million? If I could raise 40 million for Bedford Town Centre, the way I would do it is I would probably spend close to half of that on just acquiring property because that's a defensive move. If it fails, you still own the property. Yeah. I would create anchor businesses in the town centre that people want to come to, which is a good gym and a good spa and a boutique hotel and the food hall and like a micro department store. I think there's a place for a micro department store that has 4 or 5 brands, like an All Saints or whatever, and then create a fund for local businesses that people want to set up, like an incubator. And the way I would run that is I would subsidise business rates for 2 years for maybe 10 companies, maybe 20. And with that, prove that businesses are viable without business rates, because business rates are a killer.
Oh, I hate business rates so much. It's so cheeky.
Well, it's 16.5 grand we're paying at the coffee shop, right?
You want to pay just to exist in this town?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Let's say that's $1,400 a month. I mean, that gets our hurdle rate lower. It's a huge amount of money. It's a huge amount of money. And I would prove that, and then I would lobby to get rid of it and say, you need to get rid of this because this is going to create jobs. And then I would have a massive campaign of trying to support people to shop local and go local. That's what I would do. And I think it could work. With that, there would be a significant budget for security and policing. We would just not accept drinking, drug taking, dealing, shoplifting in the town centre. Just a zero tolerance approach to it. I don't care where it goes, but we're social animals, and the town centre is the economic and social heart of a town. And I'd try that. And then through my rose-tinted glasses, can that be a playbook for other towns?
Why not?
Could that be a playbook?
So one thing that I think you need to think about is,
how do I do this from prison?
No, well that's the second thing you need to think about. It's more. Because you were saying about incentives, right? And it feels like what you're trying to do is kind of artificially control the flow of water.
Yes.
However, it doesn't really work that way. If people aren't incentivized to go to the thing, you've got to ask yourself, well, why are they incentivized to go somewhere else? Like, for example, in Swindon, we've got the outlet village, right? So it's a bit out of town. It's not very far, but you drive there. You could walk there, but people don't mostly. And they go there because that's the nexus of all the brand shops, right? That's where they go to get, that's where I got this suit. That's where you go to get whatever Tommy Hilfiger or whatever it is. It's not on the high street anymore. Like Debenhams and all that have shut down. HMV is shut down. Like, what was the House of Fraser? Like, just all of Marks and Spencer's. Yeah, everything.
W. Smith's just closed down in Bedford.
But the main reason I think they've closed down from the high streets is because if you go on the census map and you look, you'll notice that I bet Bedford Town Centre is mostly not British people, right?
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
I guarantee it is.
The reason I say I don't know,
because I can feel you getting worried about being called a racist.
No, I'm not worried about that anymore. No, I've accepted that.
So I think it's about the foot traffic, because in the reason that these things aren't leaving Swindon. What they're doing is they're moving to the more concentrated density of where white British people are, because these are our shops, right? We seem to have this opinion in our head that, oh, well, everyone in the world will go to Debenhams. No, they don't do that. They actually set up their own shops and they buy their own things. And so you get the replacement of weird shops that English people aren't interested in, but foreign people are interested in. And so the problem that we have is that to be like the lodestone that draws the people to that area, well, that's actually a really difficult thing, because ultimately what it could be that we're doing here is just throwing money down the drain.
It's very important that you don't lose this, okay? This is your inheritance through Bitcoin.
Let Bitcoin rip. Don't rip up your Bitcoin. Set up inheritance with Casa.
No, you're right. You're right. Look, I'm not worried about being called a racist. I just don't know if that's our problem. We have a problem with HMOs.
Mhm.
That is a problem. And that's putting people on the low economic spectrum into the town who are, some of them are bringing issues with them. Not everyone, and I'm not
trying to cast aspersions.
No, but Bedford's quite strange in that the what you're talking about exists, but it exists in an area called Queen's Park, is heavily Indian, Pakistani, Eastern European. And that's walkable to the town. And the shops that are nearer that certainly are the more of the kind of foreign shops that you're talking about. But the other end, we've got this area like up, we call it Castle Road area.
Right.
It's one of the like exclusive places to live. And so it's almost like the town centre splits.
We've got the same thing in Swindon. We've got the town
Right.
centre and then Old Town.
Yes.
But, Old Town is still mostly white British. And I met my wife there, right, years ago, 20 years ago, or however long it was, or 15 years ago. I met my wife there. And the shops are all still the same shops. So the problem with the internet, because this is before the internet was a really big thing, right? So if everyone wants to say, well, it's people buying from Amazon, I don't think it is just that, actually. Like the footfall is basically still the same, because there's still the same people just living in that area. Whereas, again, it's walkable, but it's about a mile. And you go to the town centre and you can just see the difference in the people walking around. The kind of shops they frequent.
You see that in Bedford.
And so and so it's like, look, it is still possible to have shops that are supported by just high street activity. It's just that if the people aren't interested in those shops, then the shops don't get that custom.
Yeah.
And so in the areas where you've got the white British, you can see they've got the sort of old school shops that we used to have. And in those areas that don't, you don't. And so I think this is going to be an issue whether we like it or not. And it's hard to talk about. But.
No, but yes and no. It is and it isn't. Because, like I said, Bedford's a strange place in that it has a number of naturalised people who've been there for a long time.
I'm not
but
saying anything like that.
But we are getting middle class people coming in, just less and less. They're just coming in less. But I think you can flip that with, if you have the right things to do. I think if you get rid of all the addicts who are causing plague in the town, and if you have the right hospitality in place, the shops will come. But I think it starts with hospitality, hence the food hall, or my cafe. Everything I want to open is hospitality. I want to open a pizza place and a burger place, because I think that brings the crowd in. Because a lot of us, I don't know what it's like for you guys, but we eat out a lot more than we did when I was a kid.
Yeah, I know.
And, we want to go out and eat. We want to go to La Terrazza and have pasta. We want to go to my coffee shop and have cake and a hot chocolate, whatever. We want to do those things. I think they bring people into the town. The other day, they pedestrianised one of the streets in Cuthbert Street. It was brilliant. You had market stalls. There's a thing called Beer Fly, which is a beer place. You get your beer and you drink on the street. It was brilliant. It was packed. All the businesses on that street would have crushed that day. They probably would have done a week of trade in a day. They did it in Athens during austerity. They had Friday nights or summer nights in Athens. They pedestrianised everything. So I think with the right action, the right belief, support from the council, you can do these things. But I think it's going to take a long time.
Fingers crossed.
But locals absolutely have to support it. They have to spend their pounds in the town centre. We know a pound spent in a local shop circulates 4 times, and one that goes to Starbucks goes to shareholders. We know all this. You just got to get it across to people.
Well, I mean, I'm totally in favour of the message. I'm going to try it. I'm going to try, see what I can do. I haven't even got a property yet, but I'm investigating, see what I can do. And because I just want to be part of the solution and not the problem.
Come to Bedford. You should come to Bedford, see it. I'll walk you around and I'll show you the plan. It will be different for Swindon, and Swindon will be different for Hull and Southampton, whatever. The only thing is I know is like every town centre has got this issue of some kind or another. But if we can get one to work, whether it's Swindon or Bedford, and we'll learn from each other and create these parallel institutions that essentially take over, just like give zero fucks what anyone else thinks and does it. I think we can change it. It's just. I mean, what are the other alternatives? We just sit there, and we leave, and we watch it die. Or we have middle class ghettos. And people will go to a restaurant on the edge of town or the pub in their village, and people will stop mixing. And we did that. We ran that test during COVID, and it's been horrible since. In that kids now aren't going out. They're not hanging out as much. They're not going to. 20-year-olds aren't going to pubs, and we took away the social element of ourselves, and we made us kind of reclusive. We go back to our houses, we get Deliveroo, and we watch TV or Netflix. Yeah, it's terrible. We're social. Like you must travel. You must go to Italy and France and Spain, and I mean, most evenings people are out on the streets and they're eating, they're socializing. Look, we don't have the weather for it all year, but when we do have the weather for it, we should become social animals. But it's effort. It means waking up on a Saturday morning and going, I'm going to town today, even though I didn't want to, and I'm going to spend £50, £100, and I'm going to tell everyone I know to. I say it to everyone. I was in my gym yesterday morning. 2 ladies there said, "Oh, I saw you in the paper. It's great." I was like, "Yeah, when are you going to town next?" "I don't know. I'll go this weekend. Go on Saturday."
But the thing is, it has to be about the attraction, though, because we're pushing, but it has to be dragging, right? The town centre has to be dragging them. It's like when I was young, you'd go to the town centre because that's where your friends would be, right? That's where everyone was going. So, I want to go see, I'll go to the bar and, meet up with my cousin, and then we'll, get some lunch and do whatever. It was attracting me there. It's not that I had to be pushed there. And until we find a mechanism that attracts rather than pushes, I think it'll always be an uphill battle. Right, and I'm not saying that I'm not trying to in any way, criticize or stop you.
I'm a patron saint of lost causes as well.
Right, it's just one of those things to think about. It's like what will attract people, what will draw them in, and I haven't got an answer, and but it's something we've got to think about.
Well, look, I wish you luck. I hope you do it. I'm a big fan of Lotus Eaters. As I told you, I've been I don't even know how long I've been a subscriber for. Dan came on my show a long time ago, my old show when I had a Bitcoin show. Yeah. I became a subscriber then. I've stayed since. I love what you're doing. It took me a little bit longer to come around to the idea of thinking of myself as a patriot. I used to think of it as
I went through this too. I remember going to a rally in like 2017, and everyone's waving British flags, and I was just like, I've never waved the British flag before. Like, it was never a part of our upbringing. Yeah, right. It was and then you realize, well, okay, well, is that something that's been taken away from me?
Yes.
Right, and consciously so. Like this idea that we shouldn't actually be the people who come from a place is a really weird thought historically, right? No one else on earth thinks this. And this is why you get people flying their foreign flags in Britain now, and we're just like, oh, am I meant to wave a flag? Yes, you are meant to wave a flag.
Football didn't help us for a while.
No, it didn't.
But I did see this, people declaring themselves as patriots. It's funny, you see American friends do it. I think that's so cool. Yeah. And when people do it, I was like, oh, what are you on about? Everything's great, la, 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 la. And now I'm like, no, fuck this. Yeah. It took me a long while to get my head around it and discard all my status tendencies and cope regarding what government do. I mean, now it's just fight or flight.
It is tough though, isn't it? Where you just think, what kind of civilization trains its own young people, like back when we were young, not to be patriotic, right? And it's such a weird thing, because even then, it didn't feel it like, you remember the Spice Girls with Jerry Halliwell in her British dress, and it was Cool Britannia and all that. It's not that the abstract concept of Britain wasn't good; it was the act of waving a flag, right? And it's a very sort of maybe middle class sort of early 2000s prejudice, but it was weird, and you were trained in some social way not to think of yourself as the kind of person who does that. And I had to spend a lot of time ruminating on this, and I think I'm going to have to get myself an England flag. And I hate the football, but I'm going to have to, because this is.
Do you think more English than British?
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
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 What have I got on mine? Because I know your Twitter profile is you've got the England flag.
Yeah. It took me a long time to put that on there too, but I was like, you know what? I don't care. I'm,
Fucking the second open, Richard Bergen MP. That guy is such a thick idiot.
Well, I don't hate him, but he's an idiot.
I have 3 flags. I have the pirate flag, got on crossbows for my football team. I have a British flag and an Irish flag because I'm half Irish. And that for me was a big move, because it's kind of like, I know now I am posting things on Facebook and Twitter that are people I either went to school with or who worked for me or sometime in my life are looking at me going, he's gone fucking crazy. Yeah. I know that, but I know it's the important direction to take. And I know it's like, I'm not a racist, not xenophobic. I am deeply care about the state of this country. I want it to be safe and good place for my kids to grow up. I want the economy to be thriving. and I don't want the fuckheads in government to be stealing everyone's money and throwing everyone in jail. I don't think it's unreasonable, my position, but I've had to shed a lot, and I've been shamed for a lot of it, rightly so. COVID was a real eye-opener. I fell for loads of that like a fucking idiot.
Luckily, I was really skeptical of it.
Oh, I wasn't. I was like, lock us down. This is dangerous.
I've got quite good.
Give me the jabs.
Quite good record when it comes to the COVID stuff.
That was the end for me. I think that was the one where I made myself out to be such an idiot because I was like, yeah, no, lockdowns make sense. Only the first one. Bear in mind, like after a couple of weeks, I was like, yeah, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
But I was like, full it, go draconian. This is like, we're all going to die. And I got the jab, which I fucking regret. Thankfully, my daughter, we wanted to go to America to a concert for her birthday. A whole holiday planned around it, and they said she could only come if she was vaccinated. And I was like, nah, join the line now. But I fell for it all.
I just forbade anyone in my immediate family from getting the jab. I did. It's not, and the thing is, it's not even that I was like, it's going to kill you or something. For me, it's I found myself developing a severe skepticism of experts in science, not because science doesn't work, but because I think the experts' actual knowledge and power over the circumstances is much more limited than they would have us believe. And this, for effectively, like a vaccine takes a decade to produce, right? And within a year, they're like, "Oh yeah, we've got a vaccine." It's like, you haven't tested that.
Yeah,
right? You don't know what the long-term consequences of this are. And so I was just intrinsically skeptical. And so I was just like, we're just not getting it. COVID is not a very dangerous disease. We'll be fine, Yeah,
one thing I have, and this is coming from personal experience, but I think we need to do a better job of, if somebody's, woken up to a lot of what's going on, a lot of the nonsense, is kind of welcome them in. Because, and I'm saying that as somebody who said some pretty stupid things during COVID, now I'm clearly very...
Yeah, I'm not for beating people with a stick.
But it's still happening. It's like, you said this before, you said, like, okay, you disagreed with what I've said there. I'm now understand the problem of governments, economics, lawfare. Why are you still beating me? Like, do you actually want people to agree with you?
Yeah, this is another thing as well.
Tate keeps coming after me as well. I mean, I don't give a fuck about
Does he?
But he keeps coming after me. It's like, I got that wrong.
Yeah. I mean, that's all. Like, that's the thing, right? If Keir Starmer had been like, yeah, you know what, I was wrong about all that lefty politics, I'd be like, okay, well, fair enough, he's disavowed it.
Great,
but he hasn't. Right?
Yeah.
None of them have, and they're all still on that same train. And so it's like, okay, well, you can't just keep beating someone with the same stick after they've realised how wrong they were about it. It's not fair.
I don't even care about the fairness of it. I mean, beat me for it just so I don't do it again. But like, I think we're on the same side now. I think we're aligned. Let's work together.
Yeah.
Like if our goal is to make this country a better place, let's work together. Like, I agree with you. If Rachel Reeves wakes up tomorrow and goes, I'm a free market Austrian.
Yeah. What was I doing with this communist picture?
Yeah. I'm great. Cool. Let's get rid of the bureaucracy. Yeah. Let's get rid of the red tape. Let's reduce tax. But I mean,
we can dream.
We can dream. Well, like I said, I'm a big fan of Lotus Eaters. I think you guys are doing great work. I love the fact that you've built that yourself. You've got a great team over there. I've been over to Swindon and seen it, been around all the roundabouts. And I think it's great. Just keep doing it, man. And like, hopefully we'll do this again sometime, compare some notes, and we'll come back in a year or two and both Swindon and Bedford will be thriving.
I'd love to.
Thank you. And thank you to everyone for listening. We'll see you all soon.